Okay, so why is my stock portfolio up over 7% today, somewhere around $55,000? It's up that much because last night when I went to bed, it was down 20% from the last 2 weeks. So why did this happen? And rather than rejoicing that I'm up 55,000, I'm examining and saying, why did it happen? Why did we lose? Why did I lose about $200,000 over the last 2 weeks? And then why did I make 55,000 today? And I think the answer to the question is fear. Fear, when you get major moves in the stock market, it's usually as a result of fear. And this fear was predicated upon a movement in the 10-year Treasury. Not that big of a movement, but a quick movement. And as a result, there was oh my gosh, what's happening? Let's go to safety. And where was safety? Well, it was the traditionals, the banks, the brokers, the energy companies. I think the banks are actually up somewhere around 16%, and energy's up about 39%. And it's again thinking that with the vaccine and with the interest rates going up, that we're going back to normal. And normal is traditional stocks will do well. People will be going to the Cheesecake Factory. They'll be going to Dave and Buster's. They'll be going back to the banks, and we'll be driving our automobiles, so the energy will go up, and oil and gas, and then we're going to get on cruise ships, and we're going to get back into the malls, and then we're going to get back into the hotels. So the money went that way. I think it was a mistake, and I think a lot of people woke up to that's really not where the future is. Some of this was, again, stimulated by some of the energy companies buying back some of their stocks, pushing the prices up, and the crowd went in that direction. I'm a long-term investor. I look at what has happened over the last year and said, what has changed? And what is that change going to mean in my future? The way I live, the way I communicate, the way I move through society, and very importantly, the way I invest my money. So that's what I want to spend this video on, explaining why I think what happened, and what I think I need to do to benefit from it in the future. So stick with me. I'll be right back. Let me put my notes together. I want to go over some of the stocks that I think are going to be the real drivers of your future.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
I've said in the past, and I'll say again, the real opportunities in investing is recognizing change and putting yourself in ownership of those companies that are going to facilitate that change, that are going to change the way you live. And I think the most important event in your lifetime, we're just celebrating the 1-year anniversary of it, and that was the discovery of the coronavirus pandemic. As a result of that, our world shut down. And as a result of that, our economy went into the tank. Panic hit the economy, and we saw conventional stocks crash. People were locked down. So that's to be understood. But really to understand and say, okay, well, we now have the vaccine and we're getting people vaccinated, so everything will go back to the way it was. So Dave and Buster's will continue to be good. The Cheesecake Factory will continue to be good. ExxonMobil will continue to be good as we get back in our cars. The cruise ships will be good. And the airlines will be good. And so we saw a movement in all those directions over the last 2 weeks. But what is overlooked is the change has not changed. The most important thing as a result of last year, the last 12 months, is the recognition that this can never happen again. We can never again have our economies subjected to total shutdown. It can't happen again. So even though you're going to get on a cruise ship, that's not where the money's going to be made. That's not the change that is going to yield some people millions upon millions of dollars. I compare it to the change that happened in the mid-90s as someone came forward and said, we have something now called the internet, and we're going to communicate over this internet, and it's going to be a new way of shopping, and it's going to be a new way of communicating, and we're all going to forget about our mailbox out in our front of our house and move all that mail onto the internet in our email box. And there was a lot of folks who said, that's never going to happen. Well, it did. And it changed the world we live in. I mean, massively. Our communications are so different. Well, the same change is happening right now at 10x, because particularly in the healthcare field, this can never happen again. And so we have pushed rapidly the world of genome sequencing. We have pushed rapidly the CRISPR, the division of and the therapies to change what's going on inside our body. That is more important than changing the way we communicate, the e-commerce, the social media. It is far more important, and thus the benefits from it are going to be astronomical. And if you're in the right companies, you're going to profit from it. Now, what happened, again, just to reiterate, is fear came in and we forgot about it. The market forgot that the real winners in all of this are the big data companies, the biotech companies, the EV companies, the robotics, and the 3D printing, and cryptocurrency. That's where the change is all going to occur, and that's where the winners are going to settle. So I look at it and say, this movement for the last 2 weeks and maybe month back towards financials and energy, those are the losers. That's your banks, your brokers, your energy companies are the Toys R Us, the Sears and Roebuck, the Polaroids, the Kodaks, those companies who refused to adapt to the change. And so I feel that we need to get back to, and I am going to get back to, dollar cost averaging into these companies that are on sale right now. And I would put at the top of them CRISPR, right behind it Illumina. Illumina is your genome sequencer. I'd put right behind that Pacific Bioscience, again a genome sequencer. Looking over here at my portfolio, I was up 400% in DDD, which is 3D systems. This is 3D printing. I'm now down to about 100% on it. It's on sale. Desktop Metals, another 3D printing. Why is 3D printing such an opportunity right now? Because our supply chain is broken. We learned that over the last 12 months, that we gave away our manufacturing. And we did it for cheap prices. We did it for cheap labor. And that we were going to be a tech society and let China and Vietnam and Slavolia manufacture everything we need. We don't want to fool around with that. Well, what we realized is if we don't, we are extremely vulnerable, because we had to shut our automobile factories down because we didn't have parts. Our hospitals had to use masks over and over and gowns and didn't have the ventilators that they needed because it's all made in China. We learned that 70% of our pharmaceuticals come from foreign countries. What if we had been in a war? We'd have lost. We would have been brought to our knees. But we realize that. So we have to reintroduce manufacturing into the United States. That can only be facilitated through the use of 3D printing and robotics. So I own robotics. I own a number of robotic companies, and you can see my portfolio. Go to bestofusinvestors.com and get the link to our Discord. And at our Discord, you can see my portfolio. It's $1 million portfolio. Well, it's right now about $850,000, but it's going back to $1 million. It'll be back to $1 million shortly. And then I'm also going to open up a third portfolio where I'm going to dollar cost average into these stocks. Now, the other thing that I think a lot of people really miss is involved in all of this is two things: artificial intelligence and big data. In order for the biotech to work, in order for the EV to work, electric vehicles, in order for the robotics and 3D printing to work, it has to all be geared to big data. Well, who owns the big data? Well, in our world today, the big data is owned by the big nine. And the big nine are Alibaba, Microsoft, Tencent, Apple, Baidu, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and IBM. I own 6 of those. I do not own the Chinese companies. I don't understand what's going on in China, and I don't care to. There's enough opportunity here in the United States to benefit from big data. I also don't own IBM because IBM to me has lost its identity. So I put in IBM's place Tesla. They own big data in the EV market. And you know that. So that's my ownings in big data. And you'll see that those 6 stocks represent over 50% of my portfolio. But the other 50% is in the technology, the disruptive technology that is going to change the way I live as a result of the coronavirus. The most important event that happened in my 76 years. So that's where I'm invested. Do I think I will be back up to $1 million portfolio? Yeah, I do. How soon? Probably within 30 to 60 days. And what I want you to recognize right now, as I'm generating cash as quick as I can to buy in to these same stocks now. And I'm going to continue to dollar cost average into them as I raise capital. So my portfolio's up, it looks like about 7.7% today. It's got a little ways to go, but that's what I'm doing. If you want to invest this way, if you want to invest in the future as opposed to reacting to fear and panic, come to bestofusinvestors.com. We've got a tribe of about 18,000 people at our Discord. And we discuss not only the stocks I invest in, but the stocks that other people invest in. We're putting together an investment committee. We're working with Seeking Alpha, and we're also going to be working with a charting company, one of the largest charting companies on the internet, to put together a program where the tribe, the 18,000, can feed stocks to these 5 people. They can analyze them. They can do videos, short videos, in which we will house then on our website, Best of Us Investors. And we want to create a library of thumbs up, thumbs down on the stocks that our tribe wants to know more information on. We've also just introduced today Jim Wells. Jim is what I would categorize an expert, a student of cryptocurrency. It is a part of the change that is coming. And so we want to be a part of that as well. I'm also looking for other presenters for Best of Us Investors on dividend stocks, on ETFs, on real estate, so that Best of Us Investors becomes the place you want to come for everything investing. We want to become your YouTube channel for everything investing. So come be a part, join, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.